You sit there and you thump your Bible and you say your prayers, and it didn't get you anywhere. Talk about your Psalms, talk about John 3:16. Austin 3:16 says, I just whipped your ass. What's going on, guys, and welcome to episode 395 of AskGSM here today for Wednesday, June 23rd, 2021. I am Graham GSM Matthews, not Stone Cold Steve Austin. Hope you guys are doing great and having an awesome week. No, it is not 316 day, but I am reading out of my Austin 316, 316 facts and stories about Stone Cold Steve Austin book. I could have easily just looked it up on Google, but I bought the book a couple of weeks ago on my birthday, and I'm in the process of reading it right now. And in the very beginning of the book, it has the complete Austin 316 promo. Now, like I just said, today is not March 16th, but it is the exact 25-year anniversary of that Austin 316 promo from King of the Ring 1996, which is fucking crazy. So I actually did a complete rendition of the promo probably 4 or 5 years ago. I think it was on 316. It might have been on the anniversary. I don't remember exactly. It was probably on the anniversary like 4 or 5 years ago. I'm pretty sure it's here still on the channel. I did a rendition of that. I did a rendition of the Pipe Bomb promo too. It is not good, I will tell you right off the bat, as you just heard. My rendition, my impression of Steve Austin is absolutely awful. I am no Stone Cold. But I thought I would add some flavor to the beginning of today's show. But like I said, I hope you guys are doing well and having a great week. Two quick notes, or I guess one quick note and one thing to look out for, as always, the interview announcements. We had my exclusive interview with Frankie Monet of WWE NXT. She was on the show last night, knocked off Elektra Lopez, I believe her name was, the enhancement talent she beat on the show. A very, very fun interview with Frankie, the former Taya Valkyrie, the longest reigning Impact Wrestling Women's Knockouts champion ever in company history. She was absolutely awesome. We talked about everything from her signing with NXT, the name change, exchanging advice with her husband, John Morrison, getting inspiration from Cruella de Vil, the movie that I just saw actually last Friday based off the famous 101 Dalmatians Disney movie, which is a great movie. But yeah, Cruella was actually a really, really good movie. I saw it last Friday with Alexis, and yeah, that's completely beyond the point, but we did talk about that in our conversation, me and Frankie yesterday. So check it out in audio form right here on the channel from yesterday, and it is also up in article form right now over on dailyddt.com. The other thing to keep an eye out for is at least 2 more interviews, both coming here to the channel in the next week. One being wrestling related, one not being wrestling related. So I will say that much for now. The wrestling-related one should be up probably within the next week, I would say. The other one, I'm not exactly sure yet. I just did it on Monday. And it's a big one. It is a big one, in my opinion. I had a lot of fun doing it. It was a really, really cool opportunity. And if you watch sports, then you'll probably know who this person is. If you pay any attention to sports, which I do not, and you're probably wondering how did you get the interview, that's a whole other story. But I'll probably explain in more detail at a later date, but that sports interview, not wrestling-related interview, will be up at some point here on the channel within the next week or two, probably a lot sooner than that, along with the WWE one too. So keep an eye out for those. Here on the channel, you can subscribe and never miss a video, whether it be #AskGSM here on Wednesdays. We also have the big 400th episode coming up, which I am still tentatively planning on going live for. Just because we went live for, I think, the last couple of 100 anniversaries. I'm almost positive we did. Episode 100, 200, and 3. No, not 100. I'm sorry. We didn't go live for 100. We went live for 200, which would have been 4 years ago. We had the 100th episode back in 2015, but I did not go live for that one. We did for 200 and 300, and they were both a lot of fun. I'm hoping to do that again for episode 400 in 5 weeks. Because today's the 95th, 395. I think it's the first Wednesday of August, so keep an ear out for that, an eye out for that, and hopefully you can join us here on the stream, here on the channel, to ask live questions, and we can have a fun time for about an hour or so. But nonetheless, if you guys want to send in questions, speaking of which, you could do so by tweeting me on the Twitter machine at WrestleRant with the hashtag AskGSM. Find me on Facebook as well, facebook.com/Graham.gsm.Matthews. Drop a comment on the post that I usually put up on Tuesday nights, if not the wall itself.
And be sure to drop your question down below in the comment section on this very video. I'll include your question in next week's edition. So let's get right into it here for today's episode. No L from YouTube first. Their first question was, now that things are going back to normal slowly, do you think Los Angeles will be getting one of the big 4 pay-per-views someday? I don't see why not. It might not be within the next year. I know California is a little bit behind. Like, we're here on the East. I'm in Connecticut. I'm on the East Coast. We not opened up 100% within the last couple of weeks, like within the last month. But like the mask mandate, I've brought my mask everywhere I've been, and I'm vaccinated. I've been vaccinated for a while now. I brought my mask everywhere I've been in, I haven't been in New York since the mandate was lifted, but I have been to Mass, a lot of places here in CT, and I haven't had to really wear it anywhere, which has been cool. I was not really expecting that. I did not think that we would be lifting the mask mandate as quickly as we did, considering that we were taking it really, really seriously in the beginning. But that's the cool thing about it, because we were taking it so seriously. We haven't had really to delay things, which has been nice. But anyway, my point is that California, I think, was taking it a bit more, not more seriously, but they were a bit stricter with the restrictions and the lockdowns, probably because it was bad over there at one point. Not that they weren't, wearing masks. I mean, I'm sure people listening to this are from that area and can elaborate on it a bit more than I can. But, they were being cautious, I guess is probably the right word. And I was very happy to find out that within the last, week or two, they restricted or they lifted a lot of those restrictions and the lockdown's over, which has been in lockdown. Los Angeles, I think specifically, but most of California for like the last year and a half since this whole pandemic started in March of last year. So that's really cool to hear. I'm actually planning on going to Disneyland at some point, probably within the next year. I was supposed to go literally 2 days after the fucking pandemic started. I had to cancel it. That sucked. So that's not in LA. But my whole point, that whole rambling, tirade that I just went on, was to say that I think California is in a pretty good place right now. So if WWE wanted to have a big pay-per-view there, they very easily could within the next year or two. Obviously, WrestleMania is going there, to Hollywood, to whatever it is. I don't know if it's Los Angeles specifically. I don't think so. It's going Hollywood, not next year. Next year, they're in Texas. So with that being said, SummerSlam was there for 4 or 5 years in a row, from 2009 through 2014. That's like 5-6 installments in a row. I don't know what the last pay-per-view they had in Los Angeles was, but I love the Staples Center. I haven't been there myself personally, but any Raw they've had there, any big pay-per-views, they've always been a lot of fun. The crowds are always really good. So I do hope they go back to Los Angeles soon. A Big 4 pay-per-view? Would they bring SummerSlam back there? Possibly. They were supposed to be in Boston last year, so I hope they kind of come back here selfishly first before they go to LA again. But, I think Survivor Series has probably been there before. A Rumble in LA would be cool. I don't know what the last Rumble they had in Los Angeles was. So, yeah, it's definitely not out of the realm of possibility. Probably within the next year or two, I would have to imagine. You're only limiting it down to the Big 4 pay-per-views and not like Backlash or something. So if it's going to be one of the Big 4, obviously they already have the Big 4 set for the foreseeable future. There were rumors of Survivor Series being in Brooklyn. We already know SummerSlam's in Las Vegas. The Rumble we don't yet know, but we do know that WrestleMania next year is in Dallas. So maybe the Rumble, if not, SummerSlam next year. But again, I hope they come back to Boston first, but maybe Survivor Series. I really do think it's more a matter of when than if. Their second question, do you think Samoa Joe could be the NXT general manager down the road? He could be. I hope not. Hopefully after he gets a last run in the ring. I don't want him to. I was really happy with what they did. I don't want him to become GM anytime soon. One, for starters, I think William Regal is fantastic in that role. I would not relieve Regal of his GM duties at any point. And I'm not even talking about the next year. I'm talking about the next 4 or 5 years. As long as the guy wants to do it and he can do it, I don't see why not. So maybe after Joe gets one more run in NXT, on the main roster, outside of WWE, what have you, once he is retired, which hopefully will not be for the next number of years, at that point, then yes. A role as the GM of NXT, once Regal is done officially, that wouldn't be bad. that should not be at any point in the foreseeable future. I think what they're doing now is great. Regal is still the GM, and Joe gets to be like the executive enforcer of sorts for the brand. I think that is a fantastic role for Joe right now, until hopefully he inevitably gets back in the ring. At noob_n_code 1991, the first question was, any thoughts on Nikki Cross's superhero persona? I'm willing to give it a fair shot. I talked a little bit about this on my Raw Talk review yesterday here on the channel. Honestly, personally, and I might be in the minority on this, I think it's stupid. I think it's really dumb, to be honest with you. Nikki Cross, for whatever reason, it's not really her fault, but she has gradually lost more and more of my interest for the last 2 or 3 years now. It's probably a main roster thing, but I don't know. I thought what she was doing in NXT was great. I really enjoyed her NXT work. She never won the NXT Women's Championship, but the matches that she had with Shayna Baszler and specifically Asuka back in 2017, I thought were fantastic. She was having some really good matches, Bianca Belaire being another one. Then she gets called up without Sanity. She got called up a lot later than Sanity. They didn't really have an idea of what to do with her for the first 6 months. The Alexa Bliss thing was fun for a while. That got generic after a year. They broke those two up. They had no idea what the fuck to do with Nikki Cross last year after they broke Alexa Bliss away from her. She kind of floundered for probably the next year, because Nikki Cross up until recently was not on the show. Her booking lately has been fucking dumb. She pinned Rhea Ripley in a tag team match, but it was a fluky win. And her celebrating a 2-minute beat the clock challenge win over Charlotte Flair was incredibly stupid. They made her look like a dumbass. And then they give her the superhero gimmick, and I say they give it to her. I know I had seen that Nikki Cross was the one who pitched it. She talked about it. It was really happy. She loved the fact that they accepted her idea. Listen, people saying, people clamor for creative, freedom for these people, and then she gets it and people shit on it. Just because someone pitches an idea doesn't make it fucking good. Just because No Way Jose had an idea to do something, whatever. I mean, I'm not, not to call out No Way Jose. I like the guy, but I've said this before. There were rumors, and I don't know if he ever confirmed this. I don't know this for a fact, but I remember there were rumors back in 2014, 2015, that the Stardust character was a Cody idea, which I don't think it was. But the reports were that, he likes doing the character. He doesn't want to go back to being Cody Rhodes, which I just say, to that I say bullshit. I say bullshit because at a certain point, he knew that it was going to have a short shelf life. The character sucked. I was not a Stardust fan. I was always a big Cody Rhodes guy. If he kept doing the Stardust shit for the next 5 years, obviously we would not be even seeing an AEW, I don't think, to be quite honest with you. Maybe without Cody involved, I don't even think that's possible, because Cody is a big business guy, even more so, I would say, than Omega and the Bucks. So without him, I don't even know if All In would have happened. So that Stardust shit almost killed his career before he got the fuck out of there. But anyway, my point was that at the time there were reports, he wants to do it. Who gives a shit if he wants to do it? If the character sucks, you have him do something else. Honestly, I think the superhero shit sucks. I remember the Hurricane. I remember Mighty Molly. That was 2005. I thought it was cool. I mean, listen, I wasn't watching 15 years ago. Maybe I would have shit on that too. No pun intended, with Rosie being the superhero in training shit. I don't know. Looking back on it, it was fun. Molly Holly was honestly that generation's Nikki Cross, a very good worker. I mean, she won the title more times than fucking Nikki Cross has, and she hasn't won shit aside from the tag titles twice. But I don't know, Molly Holly, that character, they never really pushed her as any real serious threat for more than a few months. She was never on the level of a Lita or a Trish or people like that. She had a couple of really good matches and stuff like that, and she was great, but they never really put her on the level of all these other women. Otherwise, she would have been in the Hall of Fame a lot earlier than fucking 2021. So, I don't know. I'm just not a fan of it. I just think it's stupid. Maybe it gets over. Hey, you know what? Maybe when we go back on the road in a month, it gets over. People love it. She sells merch. The kids love it. But a lot of these gimmicks have a very fucking short shelf life. I thought the Funkasaurus was the dumbest thing when they first started doing it compared to what he was doing before with Brodus Clay. It won me over. I thought it was great. And then within 6 months, I'm thinking, okay, what the fuck is next? Because, like, this guy has already hit his ceiling as a superstar. Nikki Cross, I honestly don't think will be any different. This shit has a short shelf life. She cannot become the Raw Women's or SmackDown champion if she's a superhero. It's just not going to work. I don't want to see Nikki Cross feuding with Rhea Ripley or even Charlotte Flair or honestly anyone of any real note on that roster with this stupid character. That's great that she thinks that, it was her idea and it's like, oh, you don't have to, you got to be brave and believe in yourself. Listen, that's cute and all. I just think it's fucking dumb. I think it's really dumb. And you know what? Maybe in a month. I'm not even saying that this won't work. I'm just saying there's a very good chance that it won't. But I'm not even saying that I'll be completely turned off by this forever. Maybe there's a time in the next 5 or 6 months where I say, you know what? This is actually pretty good. This is pretty good. She's making it work. She's entertaining. From what I saw on Monday, I was fucking annoyed. I'm like, this character is stupid. It's not even just the character. She's wacky enough to make it work, but it was pretty funny to see from, oh, this is a terrible character. The next day, oh, you know what? It was Nikki's idea. Let's give it a shot. No, a bad idea is a bad idea regardless of who came up with it. Yeah, I would shit on Vince because it really doesn't surprise me that Vince accepted this idea. You know how many fucking ideas we've heard from these people that get released that, oh, I pitched this, I pitched that, I pitched this, and Vince didn't want anything to do with it? Look no further than Chelsea Green, who I don't think was the greatest women's wrestler of all time by any means. But she honestly gave a couple of good ideas. After she was released, she had revealed that, oh, I pitched to be like the third Iconic and pretended to be Australian and wanted to drive a wedge between them before they got split up. Or to be Dominic's girlfriend on TV. And honestly, a lot of those ideas could have worked way more than this superhero bullshit will. Like, it really, if you want to get over in this company, you got to appeal to their sense of humor. That doesn't mean it's going to work, though. I'm telling you that right now. This whole idea, oh, it was Nikki's idea, so therefore it's great. Should we give it a shot? Yeah, I'll give it a couple more weeks, but so far I'm not sold. I'm entitled to my opinion. If you thought it was great, that's cool, but I just thought it was fucking stupid. So we'll see how much further they go with it. But again, I just can't see that shit being in the title picture. And I think Nikki Cross is a really good worker. But the problem is that they have so many other good workers in those divisions, Raw, SmackDown, even NXT, where this gimmick could probably fucking kill her career. Because there are so many other women at this point in time that I want to see fighting for that championship over Nikki Cross. I don't want to see Nikki Cross fighting for the Raw Women's title with this shit on, doing this dumb shit. I'd much rather see the Four Horsewomen back in the title picture, or Bianca Belaire, or Rhea Ripley, most of the NXT Women's division. Asuka. Even honestly, I've never been the biggest Liv Morgan fan. I would rather see Liv Morgan or Carmella in her current character in the title picture over Nikki Cross. And it's not an indictment on Nikki Cross, it's the stupid character. Congrats to her for pitching it, and maybe it'll get over, and I'll say, you know what, I was wrong. I'm not even saying it can't get over, I'm just saying I don't think it will. But until that day comes, I still think it's stupid. So let's give it a little bit more time. But my initial thoughts are that it's just really dumb. Noob's second question, who's going to win the men's and women's Money in the Bank briefcases this year? For the men, I'm going with Cesaro, and for the women, Asuka, because it might be a possible storyline that she never cashed in the briefcase last time. Maybe Asuka versus Becky Lynch at SummerSlam. Yeah, no thanks. I know you're a big Asuka fan. You ask about Asuka every single week. I don't, absolutely, of all the people in that match, even including Alexa Bliss, and her current character is fucking terrible in other ways. Same thing, where her portrayal of the character is great, and I'm glad she's having fun with it according to what she tweeted today. That's amazing. In terms of me watching the show, and I know I'm not alone in feeling this way with the Raw ratings being lower than they've ever been, a lot of the supernatural bullshit is fucking dumb. It's stupid. I felt dumber after having watched Alexa Bliss versus Shayna Baszler at the Hell in a Cell pay-per-view on Sunday. And it wasn't even a poorly wrestled match. It was all the shit like, oh, she's going to slap Reginald like using a trance. Like, what the fuck is this? What is this shit? It's not, and I like horror stuff, so if you do it properly, it could work. But the problem is that it's not sport, it's not even entertaining, and it's not even scary. It doesn't fall in any of those three categories. It's trying to be too many things at once, and the only thing it ends up being is fucking dumb. Definitely a lot worse than the superhero shit, but not by that much. But my point being was that I would rather see Alexa Bliss win the briefcase over Asuka. I am so done with Asuka in the title picture. It's a lot like with Drew, where I love Drew. I love Asuka. I think they're both great. They're both in the same position, though. They have been non-fucking-stop in the title picture on Raw. And yeah, you can move Asuka over to SmackDown, but even then, who cares? And I think she should go to SmackDown. You've said that before, and I agree, but even then, I don't really want to see her in the title picture again anytime soon. Give it a fucking rest. Have her do something else. But the problem with Asuka, and I said this a couple weeks ago, was that she's done everything. Like, I'm watching Raw, and I'm thinking, could a tag team with Naomi work? But then I'm also thinking, Naomi's been in 10 tag teams. So has Asuka. I don't want to see them form a tag team. Fucking do something with them on their own. Or at least have Asuka go away for a little while. I don't know if they can afford to have her take time off, but man, like, I don't want to see Asuka fighting for the championship at any point. Maybe the tag titles, but again, she's already a 2-time tag team champion. I feel like that's been done to fucking death. She teamed with Kyrie Sane. She teamed with Charlotte. She teamed with Lana. Jesus Christ, can we move on from Asuka in any sort of title picture? Just do something else with her, please. It might not be good, but at least it's out of the title picture. So absolutely not. I do not want to see Asuka win the briefcase. The idea that she didn't cash in, that was Becky Lynch's idea. It was Becky Lynch who had said, listen, I'll put the title in there because I know I'm pregnant in storyline. So that's why she won the championship. So no, I don't want to see Asuka win the fucking match. I think that'd be dumb. Honestly, of all the people that have already qualified on the Raw side, Alexa Bliss is better than Asuka, but she is still a terrible choice. She's won it before. The current character with that briefcase, no thanks. And Nikki Cross is a fucking superhero. Need I say more? The only person I want to see win the thing is Naomi of those four. I think Naomi is really good. She is the exact opposite of Asuka. We have not seen Naomi in a championship picture, at least she fought for the tag titles a couple times this year. We have not seen Naomi fight for a singles championship in a regular feud in probably 3 or 4 years. And I'm not even saying she's the best women's worker in the company, but I feel like everyone's been in the title picture over her. Give her another fucking shot. I'd much rather see Naomi win. And Naomi wasn't even in the match last year, which really baffled me. I don't think anyway. So of those women, I would give it to her. If you include 4 women from SmackDown, which would be like almost their entire division over on that show, obviously I would put Carmella in it. I do not want to see Carmella win it again. Liv Morgan wouldn't be a bad choice if she can continue to improve. She's just kind of dead in the water right now. They're not doing shit with her because of the Ruby Riott breakup. Ruby Riott would have been a great pick if they didn't fucking fire her. Who else is even on SmackDown? Bayley? No. Been there? No. I feel like a lot of the women have already won it anyway. Not Bayley. Sasha? No. I don't think she'll even be in the match. If anything, she'll face Bianca at the pay-per-view, which, I think they'll probably hold off on bringing her back for another month. Maybe she'll be back on Friday, but I still wouldn't put her in this match. Who else is even on SmackDown? Carmella, Liv, Sasha, Bayley, Bianca, Sonya. You know what? Sonya entering herself in the match and winning, I think, would be pretty cool. So if not Naomi, and the weird thing with the women's briefcase this year is that they fired a lot of the women that I thought would be good fits, like a Peyton Royce or a Ruby Riott, and now they're both fucking gone. I do think of the current women on the roster that Sonya would be a great pick. Maybe there's someone I'm not thinking of. Shayna is just beyond dead in the water. Like, at this point, who even cares? Nia Jax is terrible. She didn't qualify anyway. Who were the other women that didn't qualify? Oh, Eva. Yeah, no thanks. Piper Niven, obviously, it's too soon. So Naomi would be a good pick for now. If they put Sonya's not going to be in it, but Sonya would be a great pick. I do think that Sonya in there would be an awesome pick because she's an authority figure. Maybe she inserts herself and wins it. That would be great. I don't care to see fucking, Mandy Rose being, they're just tag team people right now. Natalya and Tamina just aren't good. Dana Brooke is terrible. I like Mandy Rose, but I'm just kind of beyond the idea of her in a singles, getting a singles push right now, given the current Dana Brooke tag team stuff. And they're going after the women's tag titles anyway. So, nonetheless, I would go with Naomi probably for the women. For the men, as of right now, so we have 3 people that qualified, all the people that you wouldn't expect. Ricochet, I doubt, is winning this thing. Unless they had a change of heart in the span of 2 weeks from where he lost, like from going from losing on main event to then winning Money in the Bank, which it's WWE. Jinder Mahal fucking lost to Mojo Rawley and then won the WWE title a month later. So you never know with this company. I don't think he's winning. I don't think John Morrison's winning, although that would be cool. Long overdue, but they just don't take him seriously like that. And then Riddle would be cool, but like Riddle's doing the Orton thing right now, so Probably not. It would probably have to be a SmackDown guy because the other qualifying spot is either going to McIntyre. No. And the idea that, maybe it can help him get around facing Lashley. It's just... Give it a rest. Listen, you're not doing Drew any favors, and I'm sure Drew was not happy with the fact, listen, I'm getting title shots. At least it makes sense, but now it's time to move on for a little bit. He is turning into Roman Reigns with some of the shit they're doing with him, so do not have him win Money in the Bank, please. You'll probably get booed if he comes close to winning the briefcase at the pay-per-view, because he's already held the title twice in the last year. Let's move on for a little bit and then come back to it. Maybe in a year or so he can win the briefcase. But I don't think he's winning. Orton's not winning. Hopefully not. And then AJ's won half of the tag team champions, and I don't think he's qualifying anyway. So it'll probably have to be a SmackDown guy. Let's say if Naomi wins on Raw, which I don't think she will, but if Naomi wins for Raw, then for SmackDown, you can have Big E's obviously a great choice. Kofi would have been a nice choice if he's not already getting a shot against Lashley at the pay-per-view. Big E's probably the best bet. I know you said Cesaro, and listen, I like Cesaro. I feel like he hit his peak when he faced Roman and lost. I don't even think he should have beat Roman, and I'm glad he didn't because Roman's on such a roll right now. And I would love to see Cesaro get one title run, but it's like he already lost to Roman, so I don't see them going back to that. If he didn't already lose to Roman, I might be like, oh yeah, that's a great choice, but he already lost to him. Nakamura, no. Corbin again, no. Owens, maybe, but again, he already lost to Roman a bunch of times. Big E's probably the best bet. He probably shouldn't cash in unexpectedly, but he can save it for WrestleMania. He doesn't have to win the Rumble. He can just save it for Mania and cash in on Roman Reigns then if they do the match of that show. I saw a rumor today that he might be switching shows, which I hope he doesn't. I know Raw needs top baby faces, but honestly, SmackDown does too. So this whole idea that, Raw needs Big E more than SmackDown does, it's not true. It's not true. I think he should stay right put on SmackDown. Keep the New Day as far apart from each other as possible for now. It's still way too soon to be reuniting those guys. I know they wouldn't be back in the tag team division anyway, but still, keep them on separate shows, please. And keep Big E on SmackDown. It's probably going to be Big E because I'm trying to think who else it could be. Cruz is Intercontinental Champion. It just doesn't make sense. Aleister Black would have been cool if he didn't, get fucking fired, like I said. I don't know. I think it's probably going to be Big E. Cesaro would be cool. I just don't see that happening. Rollins, no. Zayn, probably not. Zayn with his current character, I think would be cool with the briefcase. You just know for a fact that he's not going to cash in successfully, especially if Roman Reigns is champion. You're going to run into this exact same fucking issue we had a year ago with Otis and Roman Reigns. You knew Roman wasn't going to be feuding with Otis, or that Otis was not going to beat Roman Reigns or Braun or whoever was champion, The Fiend. So it was a waste. Cesaro or Big E could realistically cash in on Roman and win. You knew Otis wasn't going to win. Sami Zayn's not going to cash in on Roman and win. So Cesaro would be nice, but I'm going with Big E and hopefully Naomi of the current women that have been qualified. If not, Sonya Deville, which I don't see happening anyway. His next question. With Carrie Cross and Bronson Reed rumored to be called up to the main roster, are there any other NXT stars moving up to the main roster? Io Shirai, Dakota Kai, the Robert Stone brand, or Kaylee Ray? Excuse me, the Robert Stone brand on the main roster. You lost me there. You lost me. The Robert Stone brand, I'm not even sure should be in NXT. Listen, I shouldn't say that. I like Robert Stone a lot. I think he's a great manager. I think he's great in that role. I like Jessie Camilla. She's never really been given a fair shake. Aaliyah is terrible, and she's been there for 6 years. Maybe even 7. She's awful. If Aaliyah hasn't been called up now, she never will be, and she's just not good. If Aaliyah is on the main roster over Candice LeRae, who has been there for fucking 3 years, 3.5 years, that's an absolute joke. They suck. So the other women I agree with. Dakota Kai, it's too soon. Maybe she loses to Raquel and they call her up. I know Dakota's been there for 4 years, but I still feel like there's more that she could do there. She can win the tag titles again or reunite with Tegan or win the women's championship. I just don't see her as being, let's call her up right now. Maybe, but on her own, does she succeed on Raw or SmackDown right now? I honestly don't see it. Maybe on SmackDown, but there were all these rumors for months. Mia Yim's coming back, and we haven't fucking seen her since May. I feel like that might be more of a Keith Lee thing where she might be home helping him out or whatever. If not, then I don't know why the fuck they haven't used her, because SmackDown needs women, like, now. Io Shirai, absolutely. I definitely see her getting called up in August. Kaylee Ray, I don't think she would do well, at least not without going to NXT proper first. Now, Toni Storm is just completely lost in the shuffle in NXT. I don't know what the fuck is going on with her. They should probably just call her up at this point. If they're not going to do anything with her in NXT, I just get the sense they're not exactly high on her. Just move her up. Maybe Shotzi, but I think she could, use some more time in NXT. I've already answered this question before. Karrion, if he loses the title, then maybe. Bronson, I think it's too soon. I know he's been in NXT for 2 years now, but there's more that he can do in NXT, more people to feud with, even beyond August. Maybe he could even be in the top title picture too. Gargano absolutely should be moved up. I mean, it's time to move on, buddy. I don't think he will, but hey, if he's facing Cross and he loses, maybe then it's time to move on. Him and Candice would be cool to move on together. Candice, I feel like, will probably stay put for a little while longer, although she should be called up too. Ciampa, it's time to move the fuck on, buddy, but I just don't see that happening. Finn Balor, obviously. Finn Balor's got to move up. Pete Dunne, I could see, maybe. Not right now. Definitely Finn Balor and Io Shirai. And Adam Cole, too. It's time to move on, brother. Like, you've done all that you can do in NXT. They're doing Kyle and him again at Great American Bash, and that's cool, but, have Cole win, do a third match, have O'Reilly win that, and then let's move Cole on his way up to Raw or SmackDown. I know there's a good chance they could ruin him. I'm very much aware of that, but it also gets to a point where you're not going to know unless you try. I know Rhea Ripley's booking has been all over the place, but like Adam Cole, it's gone to the point where like, okay, we need to move on here. It's ridiculous. It's ridiculous how long he's even been in NXT. Like, he should have been called up to the main roster from day one, but he's been in NXT now for 4 fucking years. I love the guy, but like, they're wasting some of his prime years in developmental. And if that doesn't work, I just go to AEW or something, but he's got to move on from NXT. At Iwagu91, do you think that Roman Reigns and Bianca Belaire will be ranked number 1 in the respective PWI top wrestlers this year? I mean, obviously Roman Reigns. I mean, the guy doesn't... If they do this shit, which I think they do in kayfabe, like, oh, you got to have this amount of matches and shit. Listen, Roman wrestles fucking 6 or 7 times a year. He has so far, like once a month. And he's still the best thing in the entire company. But then again, I think they put like Brock at number 1, and he's only had like a couple matches a year, so... That shouldn't be a problem. Walter, like, again, he wrestles like 3 times a year, but he's one of the best people they have in NXT UK, so I think that rule is dumb, but anyway. Roman Reigns will absolutely be number 1. I don't even know when, like, the rankings are. Don't they do them, like, every, like, August? Because if so, the timing could not be better. Because Roman came back after SummerSlam, which is around the time they announced the top 100. Or maybe it's July. But he came back at that point, and he's been on top the entire... He's been champion almost the entire time. And he's had amazing matches and done the best work of his entire career. So, yeah, there's literally no doubt, whether it be anyone in WWE, AEW, even New Japan, that no one even comes close to being in Roman Reigns' level right now. Not even Will Ospreay, who was great, but he's also gotten hurt, and he's been all over the place. But, yeah, no, Roman is absolutely got to be number 1. Bianca Belair probably as well. She's had a great last year. Now, she wasn't doing a lot late last year, but she did win most of her matches. She came to SmackDown, won the Rumble, won at WrestleMania. She's been champion ever since. So, I mean, I could see them making a case for Io because she was champion for a good portion of that period where they're probably going to be grading or whatever. Britt Baker as well. Obviously, Sheeta might be number 1 just because Sheeta was champion for a long time. I wouldn't put Sheeta number 1. I like Sheeta, but like, she had kind of an underwhelming reign. Because she was hardly featured as anyone. She was hardly featured as anyone important on that show. Britt Baker was way more important on Dynamite than Sheeta was during her entire reign. But yeah, I would put Bianca number 1. And then Roman Reigns at number 1 for the men. And if it's all the same, then probably just Roman Reigns. I don't know if they do merge the two. I don't remember. I thought they did. But either way, Roman Reigns is at number 1. The second question from Matt Uwagu91, do you consider TJP's match with Koda Ibushi in the Cruiserweight Classic to be the best match of his career? TJP has been wrestling for over 20 years now. I haven't seen every TJP match. I can't say it's the best match he ever had because I haven't seen his entire career. I honestly wasn't really even aware of TJP up until like 2013 when he showed up as TJ Perkins in Impact and then he went to WWE. I will say this, though. Of all the matches I've seen of his in WWE and in Impact, it's the best TJP match I've ever seen. That Koda Ibushi match in the CWC. The Grand Metalik match was also good, but he never reached those same heights in the remainder of his run in WWE. And in Impact, he's had some amazing matches. I will say, I forgot about this because it just happened, but TJP and Josh Alexander, if you haven't seen it, which I think it's available for free on the Impact YouTube channel, it's an hour-long Iron Man match for the X Division Championship. It was a fantastic match, and that's probably, if not the Koda match, the best match I've seen TJP in. It was a little slow at various points, but it was a really good match. So check that out, but I would still go with the Koda match as the best TJP match I've seen. His last question here, what are your thoughts in the booking of Riddle during the first half of this year? You know, honestly, it's weird because he started out the year as a complete fucking loser. Like, they made him act like a loser. He forgot his lines one time. They made him look like a doofus. He did win a majority of his matches, and he has won a majority of his matches. But, you know, his character stuff for a while, he was made to look like a complete idiot. And I know he was like a doofus in NXT anyway. But, like, some of the stuff they had him say, the promos were awful. It was just, they made him look so inferior to Bobby Lashley. And I know that was more about Lashley than it was Riddle, but still, they didn't do this guy any favors. But he has really rebounded since teaming up with Randy. He and Randy have been one of the best parts of Raw in recent months. I thoroughly enjoyed that pairing. He's won a lot of matches. He beat Randy Orton clean back in April. He beat Drew McIntyre clean this past week. He's beaten Sheamus a whole bunch of times. He beat Miz, he beat Morrison, he's beaten AJ Styles. He's had a lot of great matches, and he's won a lot of them. He's had a lot of awesome matches. He had that quick U.S. title run for a little while. It didn't last that long, but he was still U.S. champion for a little bit. So, on the whole, his booking has not been great all year, because for the first month or two, his booking was pretty shitty. The character stuff was just terrible. But he's been a lot more bearable the last month or two. He's become a lot more entertaining, and a lot of people have their issues with Riddle, and justifiably so, considering what they're for, and what those issues are, which I won't get into here. But in terms of a character standpoint, he has been, one of the better parts of the show recently, and they've booked him fairly well lately. So we're 6 months in here, almost, halfway into the whole year, and I would say they've booked him fairly well. Much better than most NXT call-ups, I will say that. Next question from @TheAverageGrunt from Twitter. Why did no one think the pair Mike Awesome and Just Incredible together based on their names alone? That's a good question. Awesome and Incredible would have been quite the team. I thought they had a match, or I thought I remember them being like associated with one another at one point in ECW. Maybe not, but that would have made a lot of sense, and they just never did it. His second question, can you rank every number 17 Royal Rumble entrant since you've been a fan from worst to best? That's a bizarre question, but you obviously know number 17 is my favorite number. And not only that, but because, I picked it in my Royal Rumble game every year for close to a decade, hoping I would win. And it was in my own game, and I finally won my own game. I didn't win myself an award. I gave it to the runner-up. But Charlotte finally won from 17 in 2020. Yeah, 2020 for the Rumble, for the women. But so I've picked 17 every year. I'm not going to go since I started being a fan, because that would go all the way back to 08, and that's like fucking 20 people if you include the women. That's just, this is a bizarre question as it is, but I will answer it. I don't know how you want me to rank it, like based on how they did, or like my thoughts on them, or like if they're my favorites. That's probably what I'll do, because I don't remember how 90% of these people did in their respective Rumbles. But this is how I would rank them from worst to best, you said. So the worst would be Jinder Mahal. And I'm only going to go since I started doing the Royal Rumble game in 2013, like I said. So the worst would be Jinder Mahal. I got him in 2018. It was right after he won the WWE title. I fucking hate Jinder. I always have. So he's definitely dead last. There's no doubt about that. I was so disappointed I got him in the 2018 Rumble. Carmella, second to last. I like Carmella. She came out of 17 in 2018. I just don't really care about her that much, although her current character is pretty good. Tori Wilson after that, she was number 17 in this year's Women's Rumble. I like Tori. I've never been her number one fan, but she's just kind of there. Same thing with The Godfather, who came out at 17 in 2013, which was an amazing moment, but I'm not the biggest Godfather fan. I like The Godfather a lot, but as a Royal Rumble entrant, who cares? Braun Strowman after that, he came out at 17 in 2016. That was back when he was pretty bad. I've grown to like Braun a lot more, but back at that point, I was like, oh, Braun Strowman, who cares? Charlotte Flair after that from 2020 for the women. So the next three, the New Day have all come out at the number 17 in different years at various points. They've all had number 17 at one point or another. So I just put it in this order. Xavier Woods, and then Big E, and then Kofi from worst to best. They're all interchangeable, but that's the order that I would put them in because you asked. And then the last four here, again, from worst to best. Sheamus, who I got in 2014. I think Xavier Woods was 2017, I think. Or 2019. I got him in 2019. I got Big E in 2017, I think. I think I got Big E in 2017 and Kofi in 2015. Sheamus was 2014. Candice LeRae, I got in 2020 or 2019 for the women. She's my third best here, third best. Second best, Daniel Bryan, who I got at number 17 this year. Or no, I didn't pick 17 this year in my own game, but he was number 17. And then The Miz, which sounds bizarre, but The Miz is one of my favorites, so he'll obviously be number one. But I got him at number 17 in 2020, I believe, for the men. Next, last couple of questions here before we wrap it up. At Scarlet1 from Twitter. Best and worst of NXT TakeOver and Hell in a Cell. So TakeOver from not this last weekend, but the weekend before that. The best match in the whole show, in my opinion, was the Fatal 4-Way main event. I thought it was a killer match. Fantastic stuff. It wasn't really one of the best takeovers I've ever seen. It was probably one of the weakest I've seen in recent years. But that main event was still what made it worthwhile. And I also thoroughly enjoyed Cameron Grimes and LA Knight in the ladder match. I thought that was a very enjoyable ladder match as well. I have ladder match fatigue, but it was a very good match. The worst thing from the show, it just wasn't a very strong takeover on the whole. The weakest match on the whole show was easily Mercedes Martinez and Xia Li. It's not even that it was a bad match. It just didn't belong on a takeover. It was just kind of there. It was a good match, but it's like, okay, I won't remember this a week from now, and I don't. It's been a week, and I don't remember it all that well. So that was the worst part about the show, comparatively speaking. The best of Hell in a Cell, honestly, looking back on it now, and I haven't finished my review of the show, but, they had a lot of good matches on Sunday. It just was one of the weaker pay-per-views I've seen recently, just because they had a 6-match card, which was great. Thoroughly enjoyed that. Under 3 hours, perfect. Some of the booking decisions were just fucking weird. Like, I'll say this. The worst part about the show was... First, obviously, Shayna Baszler and Alexa Bliss. That was awful. I can't give any show like a rousing 2 thumbs up that has that bad of a match. That was like this pay-per-view's version of the Lumberjack bullshit with the zombies from WrestleMania Backlash. But I enjoyed that show on the whole more than I did this one. I don't know. We had one title change on that show, but just the wrestling was better and it felt more like eventful. This Hell in a Cell show just kind of felt like it was there. I thought McIntyre and Lashley had a great main event. I just fucking hated the finish. That's probably what bothered me more than... even, Shayna Baszler and Alexa Bliss were the finishes. The Raw Women's title match, ending in a DQ wasn't that big of a deal. It was how they did it. Like, Rhea took the top off of the commentator's table and then hit Charlotte with it. How the fuck is that a disqualification? That is so stupid. That was a weak-ass ending. I'm not even sure if she's supposed to be a face or a heel. And then the main event had a distraction fucking roll-up in a Hell in a Cell match. That is just awful. But I thought the match otherwise was good. I thought Rhea and Charlotte had a very good match otherwise. I thought Owens and Zayn had a great match. Bianca and Bayley had a great match. And Rollins and Cesaro had a very good match too. So it was a weird show. I enjoyed it. But, you take out the Shane and Alexa stuff and it's probably an even better show. But the finishes for those top 2 matches was just fucking disappointing. And they also, a lot of the matches made sense. And I agreed with most of the outcomes, if not all the outcomes. But it was just, I don't know, it didn't really feel like it was a necessary show. It was a completely pointless pay-per-view in my opinion. The last question, and we'll end on this. Would you buy a WWE credit card? I'm not going to lie to you, I probably would. Like, I like the design of it. I own a lot of WWE shit. I'm the biggest mark that you'll ever meet. I'm the first person to admit that. I would. Is it a certain bank that you have to have? I don't have Credit One or whatever the fuck it is. I would have to. I'm not going to discuss my financial stuff here and like what bank I have and the cards and stuff like that. But I might look into it if it's something I could get and then I would be eligible for to have. I don't know if there's like any perks with it or like I don't know. I have no idea. I'm not really super into, and I'm not super credit card savvy. Let's put it that way. If I could, maybe. Honestly, I don't fucking hate it. I've had WWE wallets before. I look like a loser when I do that. I don't carry around the WWE wallet anymore. I used to. I think I bought another one instead, but no, I don't have one now. But like, hey, listen, if I had a WWE wallet and all this other WWE shit, why not a fucking WWE credit card? Who cares? You know what I mean? Who even gives a shit? So people buy credit cards with Mickey Mouse on it. I'll buy a fucking credit card with WWE on it, the WWE logo. And honestly, it's not tacky. It's not like John Cena's right in the front of it, you know? It's just the logo and it looks cool. So I would buy it. Ideally, I would buy it. I would have to look into it a little bit more to make sure that it's not I'm not going to get scammed by it, but otherwise it's not in my opinion, I'm probably in the minority on this, not a terrible idea. And that's going to do it, guys, for episode 395 of #AskGSM here today for Wednesday, June 23rd, 2021. Thank you guys, as always, for checking out the show. I appreciate it. If you want to send in questions to the show, you can tweet me on the Twitter machine at WrestleRant with the #AskGSM. Find me on Facebook as well, facebook.com/Graham.GSM.Matthews. Drop your question down below on that post that I usually put up on Tuesday nights, if not on the wall itself. But if you want to drop a question down below on this very video, you can do that as well. On this video in the comment section down below, I'll include your question in next week's edition. Be sure to like this video, drop a comment, share the video, and subscribe to the channel for more daily content. Like I said yesterday, we had my exclusive interview with WWE NXT superstar Frankie Monet, and I guarantee you future NXT Women's Champion. That went up here on the channel yesterday, so check out that complete convo from Tuesday. Also in article form over on dailyddt.com. And like I said earlier, we're also going to have another interview, or actually two more interviews. One sports-related, one wrestling-related, one WWE-related. That's two, not three. In the next couple days, and there might be more that I'm not even thinking of, or I just forgotten about, or that might still come up. But as of this recording, I have two in the can that are set to go up at some point in the next week or so. So keep an eye out for those, and if you want to hear those interviews as soon as they drop in audio form here on the channel, you're going to want to subscribe and hit that bell button to be notified when those interviews go up. In the foreseeable future, though, this week, beyond just the interviews, tomorrow we have WrestleRant radio excerpts. On Friday's a low-key review. Saturday's a SmackDown audio review, Talking Smack review. On Sunday, I break down everything I watch on the WWE Network. I'm sorry, on Peacock now. It's not the WWE Network anymore here in the U.S., but there's a lot of content going up every single day, including my Broken Skull Sessions review with Mick Foley from Sunday. It broke that down on Monday, so give that a look as well. Have an awesome one, guys. Enjoy the 25th anniversary of the iconic Austin 316 promo. I'm Graham GSM Matthews, and in the words of Stone Cold himself, I'll catch your ass down the road.